No entering the med center until you're clean.
How can I help?
I'll get moving.
Ishari.
My people on Kadara are fighting a bacterial infection. Do you have antibiotics?
Of course. Will this do? You're not supposed to be here.
Rorik sent me to find you. He wanted me to give you this cryo bracelet.
Rorik? I don't want it. Take it away. I want nothing to do with Rorik. With any of you.
I'm guessing that's because of what happened on Eladin.
You know what happened?
Not everything, but I have an idea.
I was dumped by scavengers. Outsiders who left me for dead. I thought I could come to Aya and feel safe with my people. Forget what happened. And now you're here. Seems like no matter where I go, I can't escape outsiders. All of you need to just go away and leave me alone.
You were jumped by scavengers?
On Eladin. They said they had salvage to sell. I was stupid enough to follow them. Once we were alone, they attacked. Left me for dead. Took my ship and flew off-world.
How did you get back?
I walked 3 hours on the dunes with a few broken ribs. Rode back to Kadara with another salvager.
I thought Aya wouldn't take anyone from Kadara.
They don't. I told them what happened and they welcomed me. Ephra took me in. He says I'm a fighter. Resistance material. I spent so long wanting more than what Angara worlds could give me. I was wrong.
You can't lose faith. Some of those outsiders care about you.
Like who?
Rorik, for one. He sent me to find you, didn't he?
You went to a lot of trouble for someone you didn't know. Why?
You ran into the worst of us, but you can't judge us all by their actions.
That sounds like something Rorik might say. Can I see that bracelet again? He actually made it.
He said you can use it to visit him again.
It'll take me some time, but I think I can do that. I know Rorik. He'd blame himself if he knew what happened. It would be better if he didn't know the truth. It's your choice, but think about it.
Ryder, they've got amazing rem tech.
She's been quiet all day.
The news hit her the hardest.
She's
Ryder,
life trying to understand
knowing the Angara were created,
created for us.
it blows my mind. The Jardin did this. Developed a new species and evolved them to sentience.
It's an astounding feat.
Makes me wonder what happens if the Jardin come back, you know? We're not the big kids on this block.
Welcome back. Pathfinder, did you make it to Hervarl?
I found this Angaran helmet. Does it mean anything to you?
This is a pre-Dark Age design. Do you see the black marks? The Scourge targeted this pilot's ship. Stars, it's perfectly preserved. I can almost imagine the pilot. He must have been so afraid. I've never seen one of these intact. Do you know how rare this is? I can't even begin to repay you.
Why would the Scourge target that ship?
It must have been a remnant vessel, or maybe there's remnant tech in the helmet itself. Can you imagine? Our ancestors using the remnant. You know, Pathfinder, this gets me thinking. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't even know that helmet existed. What if that's not all we're missing? There could be a wealth of history just out of our reach. So, I'm requesting your help again.
I can't agree without knowing what you want from me.
Of course, that's only fair. I've led digs on every Angar in Homeworld, but there are places I've missed, areas only a Pathfinder could go. There could be relics sitting untouched for centuries because no one could reach them. What I ask is this: if you ever find yourself in an area like that, you keep an eye out for artifacts.
That's it?
That's it. Keep me in mind as you explore, and bring me anything of interest.
It'd help if I knew where to look.
The worlds we've inhabited are Vold, Kadara, and Eladin. I've searched them all, but each had obstacles preventing me from looking everywhere.
You're the expert. Can't you just come with me?
I'd like to, more than anything, but I'm needed here. My predecessor trusted me to stay and carry on his work, to find answers. No matter how much I miss the adventure, I have a responsibility here.
A few hidden relics coming up.
I don't know what I'd do without you. I'll be here if you find anything. Good luck.
You said the helmet was touched by the Scourge? What does that mean?
I forget your people weren't around for that. When the Scourge appeared, it targeted remnant ships, broke down their technology. With the drive cores disabled...
The ships crashed.
But that may not be all. The Scourge leaves a mark on whatever it touches. If it touched this helmet, perhaps the pilot was the target. There may be remnant tech inside the helmet.
Or in the pilot.
Storms. I hadn't even thought of that.
I'll come back when I have something.
Stars guide your travels.
Welcome back.
That's all for now.
We'll come back anytime.
Effa should have come to me.
Uxul, I'm all right.
You almost died. What's she doing here?
I asked the Moshai to set up a meeting. I don't want us to be enemies.
Is this true?
Uxul, Ryder rescued me from the Ket. She risked her life to...
Sloane Kelly saved Kadara. Look how that went.
I don't condone what happened on Gadara. But one bad experience doesn't define an entire species.
Your kind has a history of treating each other unfairly. Just ask the Krogan.
How did you?
I've been watching you. You're invaders just like the Ket, except less cautious.
What does that mean?
You'll know soon enough. Do not trust them, Chauvin.
Uxul. He didn't used to be like this. He was curious, brilliant. But the Ket, even without exaltation, they change us.
There's still time to bring him around.
I want to believe that, but his hatred towards aliens,
I'll prove we can be trusted.
I hope so.
Ryder, we just received an emergency recording from EOS. Come to the meeting room when you get back to the Tempest.
Surprised you're here. Shouldn't you be off deciding the future?
I'm just a Pathfinder. Not up to me who goes where or when.
That's not entirely true, is it? I don't mean to judge. In the end, we all do what we must. You kept Meridian from the Archon. As good as your word. It's the most beautiful place I've ever seen, and I live on Aya.
Any ideas on how we stop the Ket for good?
The real question is, how do we define victory over them? Complete eradication? Unlikely, costly, and morally dubious. Drive them away? How? What stops them from returning?
Peaceful coexistence doesn't seem to be an option.
There's much we still don't know. The Ket are not a simple problem. We can't reduce them to a simple solution.
I'd like to know more about you.
What about me intrigues you?
What are you working on these days?
I thought being a Ket prisoner was the worst fate imaginable. Then I got home and saw my backlog. Avela comes in every so often asking if I have a second. At this rate, I'll never catch up. To answer your question, I'm busy with everything and nothing. We'll see which wins.
You're an expert on several topics. Remnant, Ket, stuff I don't even know exists.
All true. Why? Do you want to be my student?
Is that an option? Because I didn't train for this job. At all.
Yet you do it well. There are two kinds of knowing. What we take in from the universe, and what's already inside us. You have the essentials figured out. The rest you can learn as you go.
Are you originally from Maya, or someplace else?
I was born on a research vessel in deep space. My parents were explorers. They never stayed in one place long. My own work has taken me to every world, many times over. They all try to claim me as their own, but if I'm honest, my favorite chair is here.
You and my crewmate have a close relationship. Any advice? Hints?
He talks in his sleep. Worth it for the look on your face. Jarl is a dear and hopeless former student. He has a good spirit. You're lucky to have him, that's all.
My translator doesn't know what to do with your title, Moshai.
Because it isn't a title, it's a reference. People from mythological times, before the Scourge. Legends say we once had many Moshai. Master inventors of unfailing wisdom, guided by boundless compassion.
That's a lot to live up to.
It's nonsense. Don't remember who first called me Moshai, but I do recall telling them to shut up. To my regret, the name stuck. I've minded less lately. Being the Moshai has its uses.
When the Ket are gone, if we fix all these worlds, what do the Angara want?
Depends who you ask. We're individuals. Paran will continue spreading hope and optimism. I don't know what Ephra will do without an enemy to fight. Retirement won't suit him. As for me, maybe I'll just fade away. That's what people do when they're no longer needed, right?
Thank you, Moshai.
Ishare.
Do you work on water filtration here?
I designed the system for it.
Can you sell me an ionic filter? My people need it on Eladin.
If they're tough enough for Eladin, they deserve help. Here.
I can do you one better. Better late than never.
Put a layer of security between you.
Welcome.
You work on the solar panels. Do you have an amplifier for solar energy?
Nothing as big as these, but I have a smaller one on hand. Do you need it?
Ambassador, I trust our people had a smooth transition to Aya.
The Angara have been gracious. Everything's going well.
Ambassador's messages are overflowing
Keep me
again.
updated. 10 out.
I've never lied to a director before. Pathfinder, it's a pleasure. I'm Ambassador Riala, Chief Diplomat for the Initiative on Aya. I was removed from Cryo specifically for this. Quite the wake-up call.
I assume you're trained for first contact diplomacy.
I'm a social anthropologist with a linguistics background. Close enough for Director Tan. I hear you're to thank for our new ties with Aya. This is our best shot at an alliance. Now we just need to keep our people from wrecking it, no matter how hard they try.
If something's wrong, I need to know.
Maybe you can help me fix it. A Solarian botanist named Sorvis Len is here, learning how to improve our crops. He sent an urgent comm, saying a member of the Angaran resistance had threatened him.
What happened?
I'm not sure. Sorvis is an excellent scientist, but not the best communicator. I'm concerned this could escalate if someone doesn't look into it, but I don't have the staff to spare.
I can go settle things. I'm a friendly face for both sides.
That would be helpful. With any luck, we can prevent this from getting worse.
Aside from Sorvis Len, is everything okay? Need anything else?
Actually, yes. Director Tan gave me a project. He wants more Aya natives to live on the Nexus. He thinks it will deepen our partnership. A few Angara expressed interest, but none of them will agree to live on the Nexus without speaking to you first.
Why me?
After what you've accomplished? I didn't want to bother you, but you asked. I'll point you towards the candidates. If you could convince them to transfer, I'd be grateful.
What's our end goal for Aya?
A strong alliance is all we can ask for. It's what we're working toward. Helios is the Angara's home. They dictate the terms of this partnership, not us. We need them as allies, and they could benefit from us. But we have to tread lightly.
Show them we're not invaders.
Historically, when two civilizations meet, one consumes or destroys the other. We need to break that cycle.
How many of our people have they let into the city?
A strictly limited number, and only certain professions. Scientists, engineers, and scholars. The Angara have agreed to allow some of our people to work in Aya's research facilities.
That's huge.
It's more than I expected. Tan wants me to push for social visits, but I'm holding my ground. We need to move at their pace. They've been extraordinarily gracious, all things considered. I'll take whatever they're willing to give.
How did the Jardin factor into the new alliance?
Between you and I, we all stumbled onto something much bigger than us. We'll have to be even more careful. If these Jardin ever show up, we need a plan.
A plan?
What happens when they find someone new on their turf? They were formidable enough to create an entire civilized species. Not someone I want as an enemy.
That's all for now.
I'm here if you need anything.
I can't work under these conditions. What does it take to be left alone?
Ambassador Riala sent me to check on you. You reported that someone in the Resistance threatened you. Tell me exactly what happened.
I didn't know Riala was sending the Pathfinder. I deserve no less, of course. I was measuring the photonic dispersal from the canopies when some random brute interrupted me. I asked him to move, and he got nasty. Said it was my fault his friend was dead. Ridiculous.
Do you know what he meant by that?
He ranted nonsense about a vessel and selling slots to outsiders. He got right up in my face and compared me to a cat. He wanted to kill me. I could see it in his eyes. The whole conversation made no sense. I think he was inebriated.
Sounds like there's more to this. Don't suppose you caught his name.
Didn't ask, didn't want it, didn't need it. When he left, I tagged him with infrared dye from my sample kit. Invisible to the naked eye, but not to a scanner.
I'll scan people around the Resistance headquarters, see if I find him.
You're supposed to represent our interests on Aya. Go, represent. I have work to do.
I detect the infrared dye Sorvis Len used to mark the person who threatened him.
I know why you're here. The botanist. You want an apology for what I said to him.
I only have one side of the story. Tell me yours.
It's hard to explain.
Try me?
Aya isn't big enough to give everyone a home. We each live here a short time and then move on. For someone to come, another must go. The exchanges are chosen at random. We call this arrangement the Vassal, time of change. It worked well, until now.
The Vassal never accounted for outsiders living on Aya.
There's only so much room. When our leaders agreed to make a place for your people here, it came with a cost. My friend won a place on Aya, but he sold that slot so one of you could stay here instead.
Sold it how? What did he get?
Comforts for his family, resources to improve their home on Haval. He always put others before himself. That's how he died, fighting Ket on Vold. When I found out, I was angry. Said things to your botanist I shouldn't have, but I'd never hurt your people.
He thinks you want him dead. Tell him what you just told me, and let's move on.
Thought I was clear the first time. Maybe his translator malfunctioned.
I'll talk to our ambassador, see if we can minimize our impact on your Vassal.
We don't expect things to be easy. Only that you understand, nothing is free for us.
Pathfinder, Ambassador Riala didn't think you'd have time for me.
She said you needed to talk before agreeing to live on the Nexus.
This is the opportunity of a lifetime. I'm an anthropologist. but I've only ever studied my own people. I've heard the Nexus is home to multiple species and cultures. It will be fascinating and possibly dangerous. Bacteria, viruses, other contaminants. My family worries about me. Are you sure I'll be safe?
We'll take every precaution, but entering an alien environment is always a risk.
I appreciate your honesty, and so will my family. I'll convince them to let me go. Thank you.
You're one of Ambassador Riala's candidates to live on the Nexus.
I am. Glad you finally showed up. Let's get down to it. I've lived my whole life wanting to meet aliens who didn't want me dead. But my family's here. How can I stay in touch with them from the Nexus?
You can send messages, talk to them on the comm. We'll even arrange a visit.
You get it. All right. I'm in.
Go Vajan, Pathfinder. I've been practicing the language. Any news on what happened to Sorvis Len?
Do you know about the Vassal? The Angaran lottery that decides who gets to live on Aya.
I've heard of it. Why?
Angara are selling their slots to come here so our people can stay in their place. Including a member of the Angaran resistance. He was killed on Vold. Wouldn't have happened if he'd been here.
No one told me of this arrangement. Well, we have to do something.
If we reward the Angara for their sacrifice, maybe they won't resent our being here.
And we can ensure their survivors receive compensation in situations like this. Thank you, Pathfinder. I'll forward your proposal to Director 10 immediately.
That's all for now.
I'm here if you need anything.
Ambassador Riala said you're thinking of moving to the Nexus.
Pathfinder. I'm honored even to be considered for the transfer. I won't be happy as just an observer. I need to work. I engineer power systems. Will I be allowed employment alongside your people?
That's the whole point of this exchange. The Nexus needs people like you.
That's all I needed to hear. I'll have your ambassador start the transfer. Thank you.
I found Kiloa seeds for Eos. Is this enough?
It's perfect. I'll make sure Eos gets them.
Here, I have the antibiotics for Kadara. Will the settlers be okay?
Once they have these, they'll be fine. I'll make sure they know who to thank.
Here, I found the solar amplifier for Vold.
They'll be happy to see this. No more power outages. Thank you, Pathfinder.
I managed to find an ionic filter for Elodin. Make sure they get it.
I'll get this delivered right away. They'll be relieved to have enough water.
Hello?
Ah, you acquired the components?
Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing what you and Gil put together.
He's very gifted. When we succeed, more of your people can experience our stories as they are meant to be enjoyed. Goda Tavetara, the Lulia Reborn trilogy. I'm weeping a bit already.
Prepping VidCon communications.
Suvi, play the full distress call from Prodromos.
Right away.
This is the Initiative Outpost Padromos on Eos. We're in need of assistance. Tempest, this one is for you. We've got hostiles inbound. No ground activity, but there soon will be. Pathfinder, we need you. Going dark until it's resolved. We're not giving up Eos again. Out.
Could use more information than just hostiles and the worry of escalation.
Could be he's worried it's not a simple attack. If someone's willing to risk attacking Prodromos, your first outpost...
They're trying to make a point. That's the last we heard? Nothing else?
No rider, but also no alarms. The orbital buoy isn't showing any major traffic. Bradley's military, all about the prep. I bet it's a brownout to present less of a target.
Keep the nav fresh. I'll be on the bridge soon.
Understood.
From Prodromos is repeating.
We need a closer look.
I hear that.